Welcome to the Gayle Tracey Mull Show with Gayle Tracey Mull. Gayle is a catalyst for change. She can help you create the life that you dream of living. Gayle walks the path of the wounded healer. She is a psychic reader and life coach, as well as a Reiki master in 2 traditions. She has a long and varied background in the mystical, the magical, and the metaphysical. Please welcome your host, Gayle Tracey Mull.
Hello, this is the Gayle Tracey Mull Show, and I'm Gayle Tracey Mull. And tonight we are going to talk about meditation. My guest is Donna Eaves. I have to remember her whole name. I think of her by Donna Shin. And she has been part of my circle for quite some time, and she is very learned in different forms of meditation. She studied meditation with several schools. And didn't you actually travel with one of the gurus for meditation?
Yes, I did. Yes, it was a guru that was from an ancient lineage. And he traveled, he was the first one of his lineage to travel over here. And I was fortunate enough to hook up with his caravan and followed him all across the southern states and then stayed in the ashram several times in either California or New York.
Which one was it that you traveled with?
Baba Muktananda.
Okay. I got to go and see the, what was it, the hugging Amma.
Uh-huh.
I can't
Amaji.
Yes.
Yes.
And,
yes, she is wonderful.
Even if you don't follow that particular tradition, go if you get the opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the energy of being in the presence of one of those people is just insane. You've never felt anything like it.
Yeah.
And I actually bought some selenite, because they have different things that they sell that they travel with. And there's, varying degrees of how expensive it is. But it just had such good energy on it from having traveled with her all that time.
Yes, she is really a master of love. I got to spend time with her in Dallas when she first started traveling. She was pretty young then I was too. And I felt very privileged for that. And being in her presence is really a bit of bliss. And she's just so loving and so kind and accepting. Just people flock to her for a hug. There's nothing like it. You don't have to go the path that she's on necessarily, but just to be in that energy can bump up your frequency enough that you get a lot of good blessings and good things.
Yes, and we have talked about it within our circle before. Being in the presence of a master of any tradition, being in the presence of somebody who's learned that much, you actually absorb some of it, correct?
Correct. It's like you pick it up through vibrations. We all have an aura, and our energies and frequencies come through that. And when we meet people or we're around people or close to people, a certain amount of that kind of rubs off. But with the masters, they have the ability, theirs is so powerful that sometimes they can just look you in the eye. Like the teacher I traveled with, I got his blessings just by looking at his picture. And it totally changed my meditation. So when he came to town, I had everything ready, and I went with him because I knew that he had the answer to so many things for me, and he did. And there are so many, a certain amount of masters, I believe, that are always on the earth to try to keep a balance, because the human conditioning can have a lot of darkness and can have a lot of confusion, and we need that light, that clarity, that love present amongst us, even if we don't directly interact with it. So there's always some on the earth.
And, I think the people that are led to follow them are to study some, like I've studied Reiki, I've got my Reiki mastery, but the people that are led to study and develop these skills, and that we really make a pursuit of it in our lives, the reason for that is to help bring others forward and help them find their own way.
Well,
Correct?
that is part of it. First of all, we have to do our own laundry, so to speak. We have to do
Yeah.
our own stuff, our own work, and evolve. But as we evolve, we can share that with others. And, sometimes just people get sent to cross your pathway because they need a little direction in that, or they need some of that energy or whatever. And to be available and have something to offer, or just to be able to radiate a certain amount of it, or some love without a lot of judgment and stuff, really makes a difference for people. And so it's a blessing to be able to do that.
I call it planting seeds. You plant
Hmm.
seeds for somebody, and they may not show up until 2, 3, 5, 10 years later.
Uh-huh.
I've had people come back to me and tell me that something that I said years ago that I didn't even know was important at the time
Uh-huh.
was really important to them.
Yes, exactly.
Yes,
That really happens a lot.
it does. And so I know one of your particular studies has been meditation and different types of meditation, correct?
Hmm. Yes.
And I wanted to talk about the different levels of meditation tonight. You know, I meet people all the time and they ask me, where should I start? And most of the time, I tell them meditation and a healing modality. And they really don't particularly like to hear that. They're like, oh, I can't meditate. Correct?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
there are.
And it was hard whenever I very first started, but I got lucky. I found a meditation group.
Hmm.
And going to a group, that group energy, for instance, like you traveled with the guru and,
Hmm.
do the group meditation, it sort of jump starts you.
True. Very true. It's, it's on that holistic principle of the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. That makes each one of us have something to offer. And when we put ourselves together, we're a whole group. But when we do that, something else comes in, something that is amazing, that's a miracle, and it unites that group, and it makes it easier for people to do whatever it is they're doing, or to learn what is there to learn. And it's very supportive, and it's not a physical thing, but it's like a spiritual thing,
I don't
that
know.
comes up, a resonance that grows.
I think that meditation, in a way, can be a physical thing because the relaxation you get from it
Hmm.
really makes a difference in your physical body.
Oh, it does. It's a really makes a difference in your health. One of the first fruits, they say, of meditation is more emotional stability and emotional calmness. And then after that, you start having this release of stress. Stress is a powerful thing, and it destroys our bodies and our minds if we have too much of it. And it affects the heart and the blood pressure and the way our digestive system works. Those are some main things. We have so much IBS, irritable bowel disease these days, or other kinds of GI problems. And we have a lot of blood pressure problems and heart problems and inflammatory diseases that start up. And a lot of these, their foundation started with stress, and so meditation can really help decrease that. You can, like, be under a lot of stress and just have a moment of meditation and take hold of what you know, and it will pull you right out of that. Uh,
Real, real life people, whenever I started meditating, okay, and going to the meditation group, my ex-husband was bipolar, and he was extremely bipolar, and he had other issues. We're not going to go into it. And my neck hurt constantly.
mhm.
Okay. And I started going to meditation group, and I literally could feel the release of that tension all week long. It was a weekly group, and I could feel the absence of the tension.
Uh-huh.
And I tell you, it will make you a believer. And don't get me wrong, people talk about, oh, my face itches. I can't get still. You can't do the things. And that's basically your conscious mind getting in the way. Correct, Donna?
Yeah, well, we have several levels of mind. The first one is our conscious mind. It works with our ego and five senses to help us function in the physical world. But the physical mind, therefore, becomes so involved with all the stress and all the things that are going on and trying to control things that it just stresses out. So you've got to learn to get beyond that. And that mental thing that can't be still is, sometimes I call it the monkey mind. Every time you get relaxed, well, it brings up, remember this, you didn't do this, you're going to do this. So what you have to do is to start training your mind to calm down. And it takes a little effort, but it can happen. There are meditations where you don't have to sit still. There are meditations where you can walk. There are meditations where, a beautiful garden, uh, what used to be the labyrinth, like they had it at the big cathedrals and the castles and stuff. You would walk in the garden and meditate and contemplate things and go within and find some peace. And that's a real easy way to do it. Uh, there's also people have trouble wanting to keep their eyes closed. They don't want to close their eyes a lot. So you can sit and actually meditate with open eyes if you go about it the right way. It takes a little training in that, but you can do it. So even though I may sit down twice a day and go within as deeply as I can for at least 15 minutes, during the day I walk. During the day, I do things that bring beauty into my life. And in that beauty, I remember the self within. I remember the higher regions of myself. I remember the love in my heart. I remember all the good things that the cosmos has provided for us. And that is my meditation. I'll try to walk in love. I try to be mindful of love all the time. Some days I am just not very good at it, but other days I do really well.
Well, everybody, some days we're better than we are on others.
It's true.
Before we got on tonight, I told you I had a really sort of rough afternoon, and Donna and I had to figure out about the Skype thing that we use. And I told her I'm going to get off for just a little bit, and I'm going to go and sit and meditate because I want to be in a better place, in a better frame of mind whenever I talk to all of you. I'm trying to shine the light for the highest good. And I am the poster child for somebody that had a hard time learning to meditate. The meditation group really helped me. And meditation, explain to people why it's such an important first step in any spiritual path.
Well, most of us grow up only knowing this world out here, outside of ourselves, the external world, which our conscious mind, our objective mind masters that. It runs it. When you look out, you see everything is separate from yourself. And you see everything material. But when you close your eyes or you go within and you start connecting up with the spiritual part of yourself, then you start seeing things differently. You can start seeing oneness. You can start seeing, hey, I don't have to be angry to get this done. I can do this with much more positive feelings. Or things can take on a different look because we're looking at it from a higher perspective. And sometimes I know I get a lot of information about how to deal with things. Back quite a number of years ago, I worked on in-store computer systems, and sometimes it could be really stressful. And so I found that sometimes I would have to take a problem home with me because it was something really bad and I couldn't figure it out. And I would meditate on it and then go to sleep, and I would dream about it. I would dream about what the problem was. I'd get up, go back in there, and fix it. And, that was always a delight for me. It actually helps your clarity of mind, your ability to think about it different. We all have this problem that when something happens, we automatically have this knee-jerk reaction. I used to have some bad ones. You automatically assume it's about particular something when it's really not. But we react out of that and just make a bigger mess. So what it gives you is an ability to know yourself in other ways besides the ego. And you learn how to not give that knee-jerk reaction. You can back up and look at it differently and choose to do something different, because that choice is gone for so many people that can only live on this reaction. They don't get to make the choice. They don't get to have the insight and the intuition that comes from being connected with your spiritual self.
Yes, and you know, there are people out there that try and down meditation and say, oh, you shouldn't meditate. But for me, meditation is getting quiet and still so you can hear the answer to the prayer.
Right. Going into that silence.
Yes. You want to be able to get quiet and still. So if you have been praying for an answer, well, you can send the message out all day long, but if you can't get still enough to hear the answer, it's not going to do you any good. Correct?
Right. You have to go through a certain amount of training to get your mind still. The answers to our questions lie in between our thoughts. So if we can stretch out our thoughts and get our mind to work slower. One of the things I learned to do was that when I would suddenly have these thoughts pop up and, oh, how about this and how about that, I started treating them like visitors and would say, pardon me, but I'm busy right now. I know what you have to say is important. Please wait outside. When I'm finished, I'll attend to you. And I did that over and over again until it quit nagging me. And, we think we are our thoughts, but we're not. We're not our thoughts. We're not our feelings. They're tools we have to navigate this human life. And we can learn to have some management over them. We can learn to not let them run us, and meditation can teach you how to do that, how to cope with that. And you have to have patience, because if you can just get your thoughts to slow down and not have a lot of interference, even if you could really get totally still and quiet for 2 or 3 minutes, you would be surprised at the benefit of it. Now, I've meditated for 3 hours a day. Currently, I'm only meditating for maybe 15 minutes during the day and 30 minutes or an hour at night. But consider myself more advanced. When I started, it wasn't like that. I had to struggle just like everybody else, to get through those things and to train the mind. But like I said, there's meditations, like there's a scanning type of meditation that comes with Vipassana meditation that I just love. And you scan your entire body around and around very slowly. You work with your mind and your heart, and your spirit works on places that are tense or tight. And it gives your mind something to do. That mind, starting off, has got to have something to do, because it is like a 2-year-old, and it does not know how to sit still and be quiet. But if you engage it and make it part of the process to where it's active, then it is much better and it learns to participate.
Hmm. I remember guided meditation was one of the easiest things for me in the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
where
Yes.
it's talking you through, oh, we're going to go and meet your spirit guide or your higher
Mm-hmm.
self or whatever, and you're going to go to a garden and you're going to do this, and it draws the
Mm-hmm.
picture for you. And
Yes.
I think a lot of people, because they're not practiced in visualization, they
Mm-hmm.
somebody to draw the picture for them.
Yes, I think that's good too. And I have done my share of the guided meditations, and some of them are just wonderful, especially if you can get one with someone that's, really knows what they're doing and has meditated for a long time. Uh, but yeah, that is really easy. And I still use them sometimes on certain things.
I use guided meditations on some things, although anymore, a lot of times my mind it sort of checks out on the conscious level and it just sort of goes
Hmm.
floating off.
Yeah, that's
You know,
normal.
yeah. You know, um, Abraham Hicks says, I forget if it's for 17 seconds or 21 seconds, but if you can get out of your own way and not have the negative thought, if you can have the positive thought about where you want to go and what you want to do, and if you can continue to build that, you can start manifesting things.
Right. Hmm.
But you have to get out of the negative thought pattern.
Yeah,
And it's one of those things that we're really conditioned to think negatively.
definitely. It's the human condition.
It is. I mean, we have fear about so many things, and people say, oh, I'm not afraid of anything. People, anxiety is fear.
Hmm.
Stress, yeah, hurting all over, it's fear. Okay.
Hmm.
Worry, that's fear. Okay. Um, and our society conditions us. We have insurance for everything in the world. I mean, actors even insure their legs and their faces and their hands. I
Uh-huh.
mean, we insure everything. Uh, a lot of people are really scared of death. We're scared of, she's, we're scared of germs now. People are walking around with masks and stuff. Not downing you if you do, but I'm telling you, it's fear. Correct?
Yes, all of that comes under fear, and meditation is very good to help you deal with fear. And then there are some special things and practices to do to deal with fear. When you really get down to it, it's either fear or love. So we have to make a choice between the two. Um, I can remember talking to my fear and, letting it know that it has no power here. It really has no power here and can go on without it. But, just being human, we all have a certain amount of anxiety or our concern about a few things, but it doesn't interfere in us doing what we want to do. It doesn't keep us, from doing, from going to the grocery store or something.
Right.
But there are people that do, and then the people with PTSD have a really hard time. And various mood disorders, a lot of these, depression and such, is really helped by meditation. One of the things about meditation physically is it triggers off the development of certain body chemicals and brain chemistry that is life giving, that encourages, that lifts us up. It raises our frequency. And when our frequencies get raised, we're far away from all that negativity and depression and doubt and fear. They're like way down below us when we get up in a higher frequency after we've meditated.
And people, there are literally, you can Google 5-minute meditations. It doesn't, you don't have to start out like Donna and do 3 hours. I mean, you're not going to be able to if you're just starting.
Oh,
You're
yeah,
not.
I didn't do that starting.
No. And I tell clients all the time, and they say, "Oh, I can't meditate." I said, "Yes, you can. You just got to try." I recommend, there's all sorts of meditation apps out there if you don't have somebody lovely like Donna to help you and teach you, because a live person, I think, is always better. But, you know, we do everything on these. So find you an app, or go onto YouTube and look for a meditation if it's about stress, if you want to overcome fear, if you want to be in better health. Literally, there is a meditation out there for everything. And I tell people, 5 minutes. Do not tell me that you can't take on your 30-minute lunch, you can take 5 minutes to listen to your little meditation app. And I guarantee you it will do you some good if you do it on a regular basis, correct?
Definitely. That is correct. And if you have a few minutes on your lunch break or something, you can take a little stroll in the park and admire the beauty and think about love and beauty and peace and let it open your heart. That's a wonderful busy person meditation.
Yes. And I promised you my story about meditating in the park. Um, I used to have a lot of bipolar people in my life. And at the time, I worked for a man who was bipolar, adult onset ADD, and he had what I call little big man syndrome. And he was from a different state than Texas, and he had a different attitude, and he was extremely challenging to work for on a daily basis. Plus, I had teenage daughters, and I had a husband that was slowly imploding. So, if you can imagine, I was stressed to the max. And every day I would go and I would get out of this office on my lunch hour. I would take my lunch. I would go to the park and I would play my meditation music for 15 minutes. And it is the only thing that saved my sanity. It honestly was. So if you feel like you're going crazy with your work, with your life, with whatever is going on in it, it literally will cost you nothing. Figure out how to meditate. There are ways and tools out there to figure out how to meditate. And Donna is actually available. What is your email address, Donna?
Oh, it's all small letters. It's Donna.Shinn, Shinn, 2012 @gmail.com. And please mention, because I won't know your name, so just put Gayle's name out beside you or something so that I know in reference
Radio show.
who you are.
Yeah, put
Yeah.
radio show in the or TV show in the subject line so that they will know. I hope you get some people off of that, because honestly, whenever you can learn from a person, I do think that it is better. But I realize that there's generations out there that they learn everything online, and I think you and I both are here to tell people that this is worth learning.
It is very well worth learning. It can make a huge difference in your life on every level. And I'm hoping this fall to start a meditation class. And if I can get enough people that are interested in doing that, I would love it.
Yeah, I think that is wonderful. And maybe it's a come and go kind of group because, things will come up for people. But I know that I used to get very mad whenever I could not go to my class. I
Uh-huh.
really would because that tension, oh my God, it would just creep back up on me. And I desperately needed the relaxation. Desperately.
Mm-hmm.
And I will admit, I fall out of practice with meditation, and something will happen, and it's like, no, you need to be meditating.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's real normal because our lives are so busy. It depends at what point in your life you're in and what's going on a lot of times. Sometimes when I've been busy, you're raising 2, 3 kids and you have a full-time job that's stressful and you have to cook and clean and all that stuff all together. It gets kind of hard to cut out enough time to meditate all the time. That's why it's good for everyone to know you can benefit from just a few minutes of it. Even if it's just before you go to bed, to have 10 minutes for yourself, for your mind, and or 5 even, can make a difference.
I actually do better whenever I wake up if I meditate. I'm strange
Hmm.
in that. And my day gets really sort of screwy if I don't take that few minutes to meditate in the morning.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I know the difference in doing that. Um,
Yeah, and you can do that too. I do both, but you know,
yeah.
minimum would be once a day to really develop a practice, but whenever you can, if once you learn to go to that state of mind, it's easy to get into, and you can call on that when you need it.
And I think people throughout their life, different types of meditation work for me at different times in my life. And
Hmm.
sometimes meditations that some people just absolutely love. Oh, this is the best meditation. You need to do it. And I'm going, I try it and I'm like, but maybe later on it's good for me.
Yeah, yeah. Different people in different places need different kinds of meditation. And starting off, you just need what I call simple meditation. Just trying to learn to be still and calm your mind and um, think about something positive. Focus on your breathing, the natural breath and where it goes in your body, in and out, and breathe properly to where you're breathing in, say for the count of 5, and breathing out the same amount of time. And just, you don't have to count all of it, but just develop a habit where it's close to the same amount of time.
Absolutely. A breath meditation is a good one to begin with. A
Mhm.
guided meditation is often good
Yes,
because then
yes.
people are focusing on the story and the imaging, and we're
Hmm.
used to doing that, and it allows us to concentrate.
It does.
Yeah, we're not having to be involved. Um, the other thing that meditation is very good for is just being present. Too often we're not
Yes,
present in our own life.
true.
You know,
And we need to take some time during the day here and there to practice just being here now.
yeah,
What do we feel? What do we think? What does our skin feel like? What do we smell? What do we hear? What do we see? And just bring it all into just right this moment without thinking about what we're going to do the next moment or what happened in the past.
I tell clients all the time, we tend to either live in the past or in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And one is just as detrimental as the other. And the weird thing is you can't change your past and you can't change your future. All you can change is your now.
Mm-hmm.
So if
That's
you can be
true.
present in your now, you have the opportunity to create the future you want
Mm-hmm.
because it's all what we feed into it.
Right. And a lot of it depends, like I was saying earlier, when the only state of mind is that objective state, that presence in the material world state. All that exists there is the past and the future. And we're always looking to what has happened and what are they doing now, sometimes to get ideas about how to make our life work. And that's how history repeats itself, is we keep doing the same things over and over and we don't learn from it because we are missing the intuitive factor, which comes through learning to think with our spiritual mind and to see things from a different, higher, aspect than the material world.
I honestly think that you and I have talked about the world is sort of crazy right now. Okay, it's not sort of crazy. It is crazy right now. And it's crazy for a lot of people. But I think that it's because the earth, the planet, spirit, God, goddess, whatever you want to call the divine, is demanding that we learn to think with that higher self.
Yes, it is necessary. And if you aren't doing it, your life is more likely to be really chaotic or to have a lot of things that are upsetting and displeasing. And it doesn't mean that things won't happen when you're doing it from the spiritual, but it doesn't affect you so much. And sometimes you find better solutions. Why do I want a solution to my problem that something that someone else has done is doing that maybe didn't really work that well, but that's all that's available to go by. But through going within, through the intuition and the divine inspiration that is available to us, we can see things differently and we can find different choices that will work for us. That's not like everybody. We can find something new. And the world is just dying right now for something new, something that works, something that brings some peace and some clarity and the ability to have some joy in our existence.
Absolutely. And meditation is one of the keys. That and a healing modality. I've actually seen several people that agree on meditation and a healing modality, some form of self-healing, is the keys to a more spiritual, productive life. You can add other things to those practices.
True.
But you need the foundation of the meditation in order to be able to pursue the other things. It's, I tell people all the time, they want to practice magic or they want to be a medium or they want to do anything in their life. And I tell them, you can't start there. You have to start with your ABCs before you go to read the chapter book.
Right. Right.
Thank you for watching the Gayle Tracey Mull Show with Gayle Tracey Mull. If you enjoyed the show, please leave a like and comment and subscribe. Tune in next time on Pagan World TV.